It's Wednesday, August 19th, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Residents in Welch, St. John were thrown into a state of shock following yesterday's brazen daylight shooting death of a 30-year-old Roger Barrow in the community. Residents are also upset that the deadly incident, which occurred around 12:30 p.m., was witnessed by two young children and several adults. Some residents told Barbados Today those who witnessed the shooting are still struggling to come to grips with the situation. MP for the area, Charles Griffith, was at the scene and said the incident, which is currently on the police investigation, was worrying.
It's never a good thing for a close-knit community, one such as Welch, to be here this afternoon to, deal with a situation that is impacting the whole community. You can see the residents are around. Everybody is in shock to know that this thing could have happened in the middle of the day when everyone is actually at home. You have youngsters at home, families at home. This is a serious, serious situation. And I know that as part of the government, we're doing every single thing that is possible to grapple with this gun shooting and this, gun violence that is overtaking the country. Well, not overtaking the country, but is rampant at all levels of society now.
Privately owned public sector vehicle operators say they are carrying a heavy load when it comes to insurance premiums, and with some of them having to pay as much as $20,000 more in premiums per year, they are calling for an urgent review of how insurance coverage is provided for the industry. President of the Alliance Owners of Public Transport, Roy Raphael, spoke to Barbados Today about the issue.
The charge a PSP $20,000 is ridiculous in my view. I mean, I don't work for the insurance company. I don't know what the amount of money they pay out. But imagine you're going to look for $20,000. You're going to create more issues on the road, to my mind, than ever. The solution, I think, that will remedy such will be the insurance company using the measurement of a Peter pay for Paul and Paul pay for all. I believe if your van continue to create problems on the road, what you should do is update insurance. We have people right now on the roads of Barbados that don't create no problem. I spoke to a guy that was driving for almost 40 years, right? You don't get any problem with the police. You don't get into any accident the way he drives. So why would he should pay $12,000 or $13,000 for insurance, right? I'm calling on the insurance company to have a discussion with us soon.
Several insurance industry experts told Barbados Today they remain very concerned about the claims firms had to pay out annually, adding that the cost of insurance premiums was warranted. Former Home Affairs Minister Edmund Hinkson has been given a clean bill of health after representing Barbados at the recent swearing-in ceremony of Guyana's President Dr. Irfan Ali. Last Thursday, President Ali disclosed that his Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hugh Todd, had tested positive for COVID-19. Hinkson told Barbados Today he had received 2 negative COVID-19 tests and was good. More parents have been exploring the possibility of homeschooling their children in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. The disclosure from Minister of Education Santia Bradshaw came yesterday during a press conference to announce this year's common entrance results.
If you look at countries in the region, you look at countries across the world, even the biggest countries with all of the resources that they have not found a perfect fit for being able to return children to school. And so I think we don't have to wait on others to determine what we do, but I do feel that by the consultations that we are having, that we will come to a common ground with our teachers and our unions and our parents as well. We've also looked at homeschooling because there have been more requests as well from parents to keep children at home. We've had a number of students who have done exceptionally well through homeschooling. We've indicated that it's a procedure that has to be followed. I'm not going to deter persons from pursuing that option. I think it is to be encouraged, and therefore persons who are interested and who may be a bit reluctant to send their children to school, there are options that the ministry has available and will continue to make available. So we recognize everyone will not be on the same page, but we are willing to accommodate where we possibly can to ensure that children are certainly able to learn at this point in time.
Former prisoners can now get an opportunity at gaining greater financial independence through an initiative by Prison Fellowship Barbados and the National HIV/AIDS Commission. It's called Give Me a Chance to Beautify. President of Prison Fellowship Barbados, Neil Dowden, explained the rationale for the initiative, which received a donation of weed whackers from CIBC First Caribbean International Bank.
When these guys come out of prison and they apply for a job, from the time the employers hear that they're out of prison, that's the last day that they would have worked. And now with the job situation in the country after COVID-19, it makes it triple harder for offenders to get jobs because people are out there fighting, everybody's fighting for the same job. And as an offender, you become the lowest on the totem pole to get that job. So your chances are reducing every time. So we're trying to nip that in the bud because we don't have the finances to support them. So, and we also want them to get a chance to support themselves and their families. They've got children and they've got bills to pay like everybody else.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region now, the Bahamas recorded 95 new COVID-19 cases and an additional death on Tuesday. The virus tally now stands at 1,424, while the death toll moved to 20. The number of persons hospitalized also jumped from 32 on Monday to 78 on Tuesday. The spike in cases came as Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis reversed Monday night's decision to place New Providence on the immediate full lockdown. More in this report from Eyewitness News.
The initial announcement sending shock waves across the capital as thousands expressed that they were not prepared. Now, the decision allows for the reopening of grocery stores, pharmacies, water depots, gas stations, and hardware stores, which will also be allowed to open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. until further notice. The Prime Minister adding that food wholesalers and manufacturers will also be allowed to operate during this period. In a statement released this afternoon following a wave of criticism from those who say they were not prepared for the snap decision to lock the country down, the Prime Minister says the decision to reverse hinged on a pending weather system which on its current path may affect the Bahamas by Sunday. From discussions, the Prime Minister says things were clear, that there is a broad understanding to lock down the country to control the spread of the coronavirus, but the reality is families and businesses need more time to prepare.
And finally, Mali's president has resigned after being detained by soldiers on Tuesday, saying he does not wish blood to be shed after a military mutiny plunged the country into a political crisis. More in this report from France 24.
Keita's stepping down comes hours after mutinying soldiers took control of an army camp in Kati, 15 kilometres from Bamako. Upon their arrival to the capital, government workers fled their offices as armed men rounded up and detained officials, including the finance minister, the prime minister and Keita. These images show the convoy of the president and his prime minister Boubou Cissé being escorted from the presidential palace by soldiers. As news of their detainment spread, crowds quickly flooded Bamako's Independence Square and later gathered outside Keita's home to cheer and thank the soldiers for their actions.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.